Welcome to the live. How come it's not showing? There it is. Kitty say it's her chill time. Kitty say. What is up? Is somebody gonna come on or what? Whoa. Let's see. All right. Look at this cute little one I made last night. I'm gonna do the other side today. That juice must have been touching these because they're all not symmetrical. I had to break it out with a new needle last night. Good evening, friends. What's the tea? What's the gossip? Who has scary stories? I had to break out with 2 needles last night. I lost one and the other one was just too jacked up. I'm having like allergy, like my throat's dry. Hold on, let me turn my fan down. Could have sworn I have some gum somewhere. Ugh. Your boy Norm has never gone live and decides to do so now. Oh, is he live? Last I heard, he was gonna be a dad. I've never seen him live, actually, to be honest. Then again, I don't really watch a whole lot of his channel. Beading. I have a vendor table on Saturday. Oh, what are you gonna be selling? My throat needs something. Candy or something. My boys are gone for the Thanksgiving break. They have like 4 more days off. They had today off. Well, I needed a break. They can be hard sometimes. Usually this is how I get my break when they go to their dads. I sell earrings, hair clips, necklaces, rubber bands. Nice. Where are you gonna be selling at? Oh, you're the one that lives in Alaska, Luis. Do you usually do pretty good when you sell? This weekend I will be downtown Phoenix. It's cold here, like 13 above. Holiday market, first year trying it out. I did okay last week. That's good. The past 3 sales that I had weren't so good. It was kind of slow, which was really unexpected because when I went to the events last year, they were popping. So I was a little disappointed, but part of the gamble you take. So maybe it was a little bit too early. You know how us natives are, we do everything last minute. So hopefully the next coming events will be poppin'. Mary Poppins. My nose. I need to bust out with my Snow White. I'm just kidding. Hi, Natalie. Leandra, what's up? Happy holidays. I'm sharing a table with my upstairs neighbor. That's nice when you can split the cost with somebody. Six, seven, eight, nine. Yeah, I'm just chilling. I just got back just now from taking my boys to their dad's family. It was a nice drive. I stopped at the store to get a Kool-Aid pickle and they were out. I was so mad. And I was like, well, do you have any Kool-Aid packets? They're like, no. Like, dang it. Where the hell is my pickle anyway? I had a pickle up here. Good evening, Liz. Thanksgiving Eve. Sure don't want to cook tomorrow. Monday I was all prepared. Today I kind of don't want to cook. Hi, Gerald. I got your opinions. I haven't roasted them yet, though. Thank you. Do you guys do a traditional turkey dinner or ham, or do you guys do like a theme? I'm waiting for my stepson boys. Haven't seen them since they were young. Three. Uh, it's dry. Let's chill. Where at? Hey, I'm a free agent right now. Turkey on Thanksgiving, ham on Christmas, or roast on New Year's. Oh. I don't even know if we had a Thanksgiving dinner last year. I don't even remember. I can't remember if I cooked last year or not. I was gonna make a ham because it's just easier, but when I was at the store on Monday, I was like, they dropped their prices on the turkey. I was like, you know what? Let's just get a bird. Hey, I'm scared. expecting. Yeah, I don't so. You want to go watch a movie? That's cool. Hey. Ooh, this did not line up the way I wanted it to. I'm gonna take this one out. Can just one fat or skinny bead could just make or break your design. Hi, Louise. Thank you. They're all small. This is the smallest I've done like that. I was in a beading mood last night. I think it is this pen. Look, I used a pen from Dollar Tree to cut them out, and it's getting on my fingers again. One, two. Oh, I missed. That. Mm, this. 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 My son raced at school for a turkey. He was proud to bring home. Oh, they had that today. Juice. No, not today. The other day, Juice is like, I don't want to go to school because his behind his knee has been hurting him. I don't know what is causing it, but it's like pinching. I'm assuming it's a nerve, and it's been affecting him. And he was like, I don't want to go to school today. I don't want to run for the stupid turkey trot. He's all mad. Can you take me to the hospital? I said, Juice, just go and I'll write you a note. And I wrote him a note. And then when he came home, he was all mad. I said, did you give your teacher your note? He said, no, because right when I got there, we were already having a lineup. I didn't even get a chance to give her the note, so I had to run in this stupid race. He's all mad. Juice is not athletic at all. Oh man. The turkey trot. Native Health usually gives out turkeys, and I signed up for it, but I was awake late that night and I forgot to go pick my turkey up. So, but it was cool though because they were having a deal at Walmart. I'm a little skeptical to make this turkey though. It's a butterball, and if you've heard of lately what's been going on with that, it's kind of weird. That kind of beaded earrings I make. Long earrings and post earrings don't sell good here. My thing keeps cutting out. Oh no, Juice is messaging me. Look how that would look cute just like that with one. Look how tiny that is. I hate how this ink's getting all over my hand, my fingers. I was beading ornaments. I wanted to set up at a Christmas market. Ooh, I've seen those. I have no idea how to do those, but they look cute. Doesn't the casino have some, Gerald? Okay, I'm confused. This, 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 this. Oh, no. 2, 1. 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, 6. Fun fact, turkeys do bite and will chase after you. Really? Turkeys, huh? I love to watch the TikToks with other cutters like Russia. They have beaded ornaments and use the Swarovski diamonds. Really sparkly. Other cultures, not cutters. Ah. I don't know if I should make these a post or make them into a dangly, like with kidney wire or the hooks. I can never use 2 strings. The strings get tangled. I used to do 1 needle, but it just seemed like it took a lot of. I was doing it wrong though. That whole time I was doing it wrong. But we went somewhere. I can't remember. I think it was a bead class, and she is teaching us how to do the 2 needle method. And at first I was like, I hate this. And then one day I just got bored, and I was like, try this. And I prefer the 2 needle method now. That's 2, 1, 1, 2 of these, 1 of these, 1 of these, 2 of these, 1 of these, 1 of these, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it hurts my wrists though, like, because you're so focused on holding them in place, the string and the beads. Imagine if you were left-handed. You know what? I've never seen a left-handed beater. I want to see that. How the hell did they do it? They probably go this way, huh? What are your plans for tomorrow? Try to wake up at a decent hour so I can cook. Kind of don't want to cook though. Maybe dinner. I'm not in a rush to make no meal for lunch. Has anyone tried wild turkey? Not the whiskey. Not the whiskey. If so, how does it taste? I don't know. No, I've never had wild turkey. The bottle or the game. I One of my white coworkers surprised me saying she will not celebrate genocide holiday. I just got off of work. Everybody says that, but everybody's still gonna eat turkey. Everyone's still gonna be with their family. Everyone's still gonna take part in the sales. Can I squeeze one more right there? I don't know. Everyone's for the cause, but then when it comes down to it, they they still kind of slack on their cause. Right on the sales. I work 4 hours tomorrow. I'll eat turkey twice. Oh, last year I think I worked because I was looking at my memories. I just remembered I was looking at my memories, and I remember I worked last year, because they fed us at work. So no, I did not cook last year. Does yours keep freezing your screen? Um, Let me know if your screen's freezing. Mine's showing it's frozen. Oops, yes, it did. I don't go to Black Friday. I feel sorry for my son. I'd be really busy tomorrow. I haven't done Black Friday in years. I don't know if I'm gonna buy gifts this year. It freezes for a bit and it starts playing. Let me take off the Wi-Fi. Let me know if it's still freezing. 35 tonight, perfect weather, walking weather. I don't need anything for back. Ooh, I saw a TV at Walmart for, I think it was a 65-inch TV. We need a new TV. The one we have is really, really old. It's as old as juice in Keanu. I do Christmas shopping online, it's easier. Well, I wanted to do a Christmas bundle, but I didn't have I I didn't have time to figure it out. So there'll be no Christmas bundle this year. Seems like a year has been going by quickly. For real. It has been feeling that way. Playing with CERN, that's what I'm saying. I was just thinking that in my head. I was like, should I say something or do I sound crazy today or not? Something is up. We will cook our turkey old school style. Gonna dig a pit. In a big fire to cook underground. It tastes different than the oven. My great grandma and grandma and my mom love this tradition. We want to bring this back for my kids, so we'll be busy tomorrow. Dang, how long does it take to cook like that? So it's just your dad at the dinner table to share, and Bella. Me, my dad, and Bella. Overnight. Dang. Probably real juicy, huh? I don't think I've ever had it like that. Hi, Cheryl. We're just eating. My dad's all pumped up for Thanksgiving meal. He was all like, so when are you gonna make this turkey tomorrow night? Like he meant tonight. And I was I don't know. Whenever I feel like making it, he starts cracking up. He's all damn. Well, I'm the only one that cooks, so gotta wait for me. It's ready when I'm ready, damn it. He's all cracking up though, because I just burned him. This looks like it's gonna be too stuffed. Getting hungry talking about turkey and ham. I don't care what anyone says, I'm eating breakfast tomorrow. We didn't. Did we have breakfast? Yeah, we usually had breakfast at my grandma's and then um but they were still cooking still, and by the time it was like 12, 1-ish, that's when we would eat. We're in Burn, I don't know how to say that. headed home to Shiprock. Oh. Funny story. My aunts tried adding ham to the underground oven. They burnt black to the bone. It was in the 80s, so long time ago. Probably got in big trouble. Dang. Um, my daughter cooked the turkey on 200 all night. Yes, we have breakfast too. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make breakfast tomorrow. Bernalillo. Bernalillo. Look how cute those are. They're all small. I kind of want to make some more of these. Look at this is how small they are. And I fit this on this. The only thing I messed up on was I should have used the black Pelon, but it's okay. Those are so cute. They're all tiny. Let us do a blue. The blue. I like the emerald green color. Did you get inspired by Wicked? I keep seeing that pop up. No, I don't even. Is it supposed to be like a thing to what is it called? To the Wizard of Oz? Yeah, it is. I'm not sure if it's the Wizard of Oz or like a spinoff. It's a musical. Oh, that's how this started. Today feels like Friday. I'm trying to think. The bracelet I beaded last night is too long. It's riding up toward my elbow. I've never made a bracelet. Is it possible to shorten it or is it kind of hard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 colors. I kind of like this rose gold. I need to get some more of this color. And I kind of like this too. Ooh. Mm. It would be hard but possible. What's up, Shane? Blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mm. I'm trying to find the same ones, the same size beads as these ones. These are the only ones I have. Hi, Alyssa. Oh, let's see. I need 4. These are all from Hobby Lobby. They're all the same size. Do I have a white? Oh, I do. White. Oh. Hi, Belinda. I've been rocking your niece's bag, Belinda. If you could put in the comments, I lost her information. But this is the bag that was sent to me. I've had it for over a year now. But it's a crossbody. It has this with the faux leather on the bottom. On the inside, it has a zipper pocket, and the lining is nice and thick and sturdy. I have my makeup and stuff. Look at these earrings I bought from Larie's niece. And I have some press-on nails in here. Some earbuds. And then these are the earrings I bought off Sierra. But I've been rocking this bag lately. In my smoky voice. Okay. Something that goes with these. I don't know, silver might have to. I don't know, I don't think I need black. I know I want this. Might have to do silver. Do I have a silver? I do. Look at I only have a little bit left of silver. So take that out. That. And it has to match this. So I don't think these will match that. I might do that. I wish I had another. Will that work? That kind of looks better, huh? She has some nice ones. What's her small business name? I had her card that came with it, but I misplaced it. This is the one I mixed with Walmart beads. So I have to pick through them. Hi, Amy. Teal is always a pretty color. I can't really see it though with these. If I use a different color, the bead will be too big. These are the only blues I have with this size and shape. Yay, why? Oh no. Let me see what my son wants. Juice is wanting to get picked up. That boy. That boy. Beautiful work. Your skill makes it look easy. Oh man. Yay, I just came from there. Why does Juice want to get picked up? I guess Juice is getting dropped off. That boy. I guess I'm not going to be free this weekend after all. Why does Juice have to be a mama's boy? Why does Juice have to be a mama's boy? I think he's feeling anxious right now. I don't think he's used to being at his aunt's house. So Juice will be home. I get no break. Cheap guy. Which is crazy because when I was little, Dad! Watch. Let's see what my dad says. Jordy! Probably gonna laugh.
Yes, my lady.
Guess who wants to come home?
Sir Juice a lot.
Guess who's getting a ride home?
Sir Juice a lot.
From
where?
Sac City.
Yeah, from who?
Yeah. Cheap guy, huh, Juice?
Well, they just need to be separated, that's all. No worries. Partay.
I'm still gonna go out.
45-minute partay.
I hope County's not being mean to him. My dad always takes up for Juice. It's okay. My daughter's favorite color. Well, they are available. They'll be on the site soon. Actually, I have a sale on Saturday. Is it Saturday or Friday? Saturday. So if you wanted it, message me. I want to stay. Sam, Juice, do me a favor and stay. Oh man. You still have PayPal? I do, yes. He messaged back and said he wants to stay. They stress me out even though they're not with me. Oh my god. I love my children. I love my children. I love my children. Remember to mark family on PayPal. Yes, when you guys send money through PayPal, CashApp, or Venmo, mark that you are sending to a friend because your item is already insured through the postal, so you do not need to buy insurance. That's basically what it is when you mark for a business. On your side, you might not see it, but on our side, it takes out a fee. So that means if I was to say, like, send me $40 and you do, and you mark send to a business, I'm only gonna get 30, 36 or 38, something like that. And then I'm gonna be asking you for more money because you didn't give me the full amount. So please check you're sending to a friend so that we get the full amount. Thank you for reminding me about that. All right, let us start. I was watching the viral podcasts earlier, but if you guys want to listen to some scary stories, you guys want to do that? I don't really have a whole lot to talk about, only because I've been home. So if you are down to listen to some scary stories with me, kick back and let the video play.
Power on.
If not, we'll see you when we see you. I'm gonna stay, never mind. I wanna stay. Yes, Juice, please stay. Please give your mom a break, Juice. Um, do you want to do scary stories, or do you want to do hell testimonies, or do you want to do conspiracies, or scary stories in the mountains? Um, what do you guys want to do? Scary stories. Brett pissed me off on the episode. I was at the part where they just got done eating the donuts and then they were making fun of him and then he walked off. I don't know if he was mad or what, but that's where I stopped. Scary stories. Okay. Let me see. If I can find something. Um,
The spirits of those who died or suffer on these lands still linger. You, you ever wonder why people always say stuff like, don't be outside at night, or don't go out there alone, especially on the res? It's something that you always hear, and for a good reason. But the res is different, full of spirits, bad medicine, and stuff that you can't always explain. It's also not just talk. People know to respect what's out there because the land carries a lot of history, bad history at that. But why is it that it's only on the res and not outside in the major cities? Well, for a few reasons. The res is full of troubled history. Many of our elders say that the negative energy, the spirits of those who died or suffer on these lands still linger. Even those who passed in tragic circumstances are considered restless or vengeful if the spirit is still lingering around. And here on the res, everyone and their mom has a story about someone who did something and what happened to them after. It's not just here on the Pine Ridge. You hear the same things from other reservations around too. It's almost like the land holds on to everything that's happened, good and bad. A lot of people suffer on these parts of the land, and some of those things never did leave. Breaking the rules, such as ignoring warnings or crossing spiritual lines, like whistling at night, walking alone at night, or opening doors when you hear knocking, is believed to invite danger. And you have to understand, when you're talking about the res, you're talking about a place where our traditions and beliefs are still alive, where if you break one of these rules, you can possibly disturb something. If you don't listen to those warnings, well, things are bound to happen. I'm sure you heard about skinwalkers, Bigfoot, water babies, the Wendigo, La Lechuza, El Nahual, the Lizard Man, La Llorona, the Stikini, shadow people, or possibly of how witchcraft can mess with you. All of this is tied into the land, and a lot of it has to do with indigenous history. People talk about these things because they seen them, they lived it. On the res, you don't mess with that kind of stuff. By the way, when I say the land, I literally mean the land. The isolation, the woods, the hills, the mountains, they're full of things that you don't want to come across. People here know better than to whistle after dark or answer knocks on the door when no one's supposed to be there. It's not that creepy stuff only happens here, but out here on the res, it just seems like that curtain, the window between us. and the other side is a bit thinner. I'm actually from the Pine Ridge Res, home of the Oglala Lakota Nation. I am gonna say this is gonna be a long story. If you don't like detailed stories, well, I guess you can skip through it. But there's so much history behind everything that I'm gonna share with you. You ever had one of those days when something happens, and when it does, it suddenly reminds you of something that happened years ago? Does that even make sense? The other day, I was looking at an old analog radio scanner when I had a memory come rushing back to me. This actually happened on a local Catholic school ground. It's called the Red Cloud Indian School. It has kindergarten through grade 12. For those who remember the gravestone that has the devil's face on it, it's not there anymore. If you know who I'm talking about, then you might remember his last name was Edwards. Anyways, it was called Holy Rosary Mission back in the day, and many people died on that highway right next to there. If you passed by there, you know how dangerous it can be having a school next to the highway. So a lot of people died there back in the day, or I should say throughout the rest. But anyways, the school itself has some weird things going on. This is not surprising to anyone, nor to me. It's not there anymore, but there used to be a payphone in front of the school that people would use. That payphone is part of the story that I'm going to tell you. That payphone used to be located across the school, where it used to be. Now there stands the new building that was built a few years after this happened. Back then, the tribal law enforcement was known as the Oglala Sioux Tribe Public Safety Commission. They had the responsibility to enforce tribal laws, respond to requests for medical assistance, and more. The OST Public Safety Commission had two dispatch centers for the res. One of them was located in Kyle, South Dakota, which was responsible for the eastern side of the res. The other center was located in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and it handled the western side of the res. One of the best things about working for the tribal court and tribal law enforcement agencies is the stories that you hear, or sometimes the stories you become a part of. I was a tribal prosecutor when this all happened, and maybe I'm telling my age here, but it's alright. I figure it's time to pass these stories down before my time here is up. Now, for those of you who don't know, a tribal prosecutor is like a bridge between law enforcement and the court system. My job was to handle all sorts of cases, everything from minor disputes to serious criminal matters, and I worked very close with the tribal police and dispatchers. If there was an arrest made, or if there was a situation that needed legal oversight, I would often be brought in to assess charges or give direction. That meant that I was around for a lot of what went on at the dispatch center. Even if I wasn't the one on the radio, I was always close to the action, you can say. And there were many nights when I would be in the same room with the people there whenever something would go down. That night was one of those situations. This took place before the tribal dispatch center had audio recording. I'm saying this because I know you're wondering why I had to be there. Back then, every call came in on a landline, and dispatchers used legal pads to write down the calls. Calls to law enforcement were logged the same way, and everything was typed up at the end of the shift on a typewriter. No computers, no fancy systems, just the basics. Again, I guess I'm telling my age here. I happened to be at the office late that night, working on some paperwork for a case we were trying to get in court the next day. As I sat there, I remember hearing the line ring. It was a separate phone from the normal line, so when that one went off, everyone knew it was serious. You could always feel a shift in the room when it rang. I was there when she answered the phone, around 3 in the morning, asking what the emergency was and what assistance they needed. On the other end of the phone was a man. He was hysterical, he was crying, and hard to understand on the phone. The dispatcher was able to calm him down a bit when he told her that he needed help because he was being chased. Someone was trying to do something to him. The man started crying again on the phone as he told him that he was walking back into Pine Ridge. When he got close to a little community called Calico, he met up with another man along the road. It was dark, and he couldn't see him too well. Something about the figure didn't feel right, so he kept walking. As he continued walking, the person followed behind him. As it started following him, it started saying things to him. Apparently, he just told him randomly that he was going to take his soul. He turned around and asked him what he said, and the man repeated that was going to take his soul. He looked at him, and that's when he started running down the road. As he was running, he could hear the guy behind him just repeating that he was going to take his soul. But then it said something different. He told him it was going to take his soul, and when it did, he was going to eat it. Apparently, the voice that the guy was using was really creepy as well. The guy kept running and running, but apparently the other person kept up with him as he was running as well. From just north of there, he was coming close to the Red Cloud Indian School. He kept running as this person was right behind him. He then saw the blue security lights of Red Cloud, and he ran to the north turnoff and down into the school. He remembered there was a payphone there. He screamed over his shoulder that he was going to call the police, as he possibly thought that maybe it was someone trying to pull a prank. When he said this, the other person just laughed at him and repeated, "I'm going to take your soul and eat it." He made it to the payphone and called police. The dispatcher thought he was drunk and asked him if he was drinking. He denied being drunk and wanted the police to come now. The dispatcher was about to ask him another question when he started screaming into the phone, yelling that he was on the phone with the police and to keep away. The tone of his voice was enough for the dispatcher to dispatch a unit to Red Cloud School. The dispatcher advised the responding unit that was on its way that it was possibly an assault in progress. The dispatcher got back on the phone and tried to tell the man that the officers were on the way. He was still yelling to keep away, and he said that the officers were on the way. Then, this is where you know it was serious and true. The dispatcher heard a very deep, evil sound, a voice over the man yelling. It told him that it didn't care, that he was going to kill him, take his soul, and eat it. The voice alone made the dispatcher get chills. She got back on the radio and told the officer to step it up. She advised that she could hear the man yelling and a voice in the background threatening the man on the phone. Another unit was coming south from Oglala, going towards Red Cloud School. She dispatched that unit to the same traffic. As the units were on the way to the school, she could hear the voice repeating that it was going to kill him, take his soul, and eat it. The man was hysterical, screaming to keep away, crying and yelling at the voice. Then the voice just laughed and repeated the same thing. But then it added, "The police won't be able to save you from what's going to happen." That's when the man started crying again, yelling into the phone to hurry up. The dispatcher advised the responding units that she could hear the other person on the phone. Both units ended up arriving at the same time. The dispatcher could hear the sirens off in the distance on the phone, and the siren got louder as the units arrived. The dispatcher could still hear the man yelling, crying, and at the same time the voice was repeating, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to take your soul and eat it." That's when she heard laughing as the sirens got loud, and the units both advised that they were on scene on the radio. The dispatcher advised that she could still hear the other party on the phone threatening the man. The man was still crying and now yelling. Then she heard officers in the background as the voice said one last time, "I'm going to kill you, take your soul, and eat it." The officers' voices could be heard by the dispatcher as they came up to the man. He was crying as they came up to him. The Pine Ridge officer came on the phone and told the dispatcher that they had arrived and were going to bring them in. Relieved, the dispatcher started going through the normal questions. "Okay, can you give me a description? How drunk is he? Was he carrying a weapon or anything?" The officer's response surprised her. "No, actually, he's sober. He looks like a normal guy. No weapon on him." That didn't make sense. She assumed both of them were drinking or something, but maybe it was just a fear. She decided to move on. "All right, and what about the victim? Can you give me his information?" There was a long pause on the other end. "What do you mean?" "The one who called us. What does he look like?" More silence. Uh, there's nobody else here but him," the officer finally said. "What do you mean, nobody else?" She pressed. "I heard the other voice myself, just before you arrived." "I'm telling you, there's no one else here," the officer repeated again. "He's the only one standing by the payphone. We checked the area. There's no sign of anyone else. The officer from Pine Ridge went on to tell her that when he turned into Red Cloud School from the south, he could see the man standing by the payphone. The man was swinging towards the air at something as he came down to the payphone. The dispatcher heard the voice, but there was no one there as the officers arrived. And that was basically it. He was sent to the psych unit for 5 days. I don't know what happened to him after he got out. People stopped talking about it, like most things around here. Things like this get spread around, and they basically become stories to scare people into following the rules. But the truth is that nobody really forgets. The dispatchers that were there, they retired not too long after that. One of them moved to Kansas to be with her kids and watch her grandkids grow up. I still see the other one here and there. We don't talk much about that night. I brought it up once when I ran into her at the grocery store, just to see if she remembered it the way I do. She went quiet for a moment, then gave me a strange look. You know, the kind of look that people give you when they want to tell you something, but they think it's better if you don't. No. She finally said, it wasn't just him. There was something else. Then she shook her head like she was trying to shake off the memory and walked away without saying anything else. I never pressed her after that, but sometimes, late at night, like right now, as I'm up writing this down, I think about the voice on that call, the way it said it was going to take his soul, and I do wonder, did it? I mentioned earlier how people say, don't be outside at night, or don't go out there alone. It's not just made up. There are things you don't do on the rest for good reason, whether it's something as simple as not whistling after dark, or refusing to answer a knock on the door when no one's supposed to be there. All these rules exist for a reason. If you're not from the rest, you might laugh at stories like this, and that's fine, but you don't know what is out there. The land carries the spirits of those who never left, and sometimes, out here, those spirits or things will notice you. In some cultures, there are witches. They shift into a human, animal, something in between. There's also people who curse others. They thrive off confusion and make your life hell. They don't need to kill you to hurt you. They just need to break you down. And if you do catch their attention, they will make you question everything. The man in this experience may have come across one of these things, or maybe he was cursed. Maybe a shapeshifter was after him, or maybe it was something much more old, something darker. I'm not sure. I mean, what was he doing out at night, that late? But I do know this, the man could see it, something in the dark, and when he ran, it chased him, saying that it was going to take his soul. Maybe that was just the beginning. I know, a lot of maybes, but you get my point. If you ever do come visit us at the rest, or somehow find yourself on the rest, especially after dark, please listen to the warnings. Respect the land, respect the spirits. Don't whistle. Don't answer knocks at the door when no one should be there. And if you hear somebody or something calling your name, or if you feel something following you in the dark, ignore it. People might believe in fences or county lines, thinking that they can leave this place and be safe once they cross over to the city, you can say. However, the spirits, things, they are not limited by territorial names and labels. They go wherever they please. And sometimes they follow you. Y'all stay safe out there. This is my cousin's property that I went to go visit, and I'm never going back. I went to go visit my cousin in the country for 3 days. He has a house with a small lake, or a large pond, or whatever you want to call it. But it's big enough to swim in. That's what matters. His property also has a decent amount of thick forest. The forest around the lake, his house, and his field as well. The field has a shed that's filled with junk. It's a pretty cool place. I used to go there as a kid. Basically, I would spend every summer there until I was 12. And suddenly, we just stopped going. And whenever I told my mom that I wanted to go back, she just said no. She gave no reason for this. She just said no. Eventually, I gave up and I just moved on with my life. But a few weeks ago, I got a call from my cousin. He says, "Hey man, I haven't seen you in forever. You need to come visit me." I'm thinking, why not? My cousin tells me that I can bring a friend or two if I want. He says that he's inviting some of his friends over too. His parents ended up going on the cruise. He's house sitting for them. He's older than me, 25 or 26, or somewhere around there. So I'll go visit with some buddies of mine, Mark and Aiden. I meet my cousin Luke and his 5 friends, Chris, Mary, Henry, Jesse, who's a girl, and Jasper. There's 8 of us in total. Me and my buddies arrive around 1, and we unpack everything. We're greeted with a joint and a beer, and we think this is pretty cool. All of my cousin's friends seem pretty chill as well. We head out to the lake to swim until it's about 3 or 4. As I'm swimming, I just get this bad feeling like somebody is watching me. I wave it off, and I just ignore that feeling. My cousin has a water trampoline for the lake and also a paddle boat, so we screw around all afternoon until about 6 p.m. And then he tells us, "All right, let's wrap it up." We all then say, "Oh, come on, party pooper." But my cousin waves it off, and even though we argue, he makes us head up to the house. We do eat some pasta for dinner, and it's like 7 p.m. now. It's a beautiful summer night, and I want to go watch the sunset. I then grab a six-pack and head outside. "Where are you going?" My cousin asks. "Oh, I'm just going outside. It's a nice night." He looks really nervous and says, "I don't know if you should do that. There are bears out there, and they can get pretty close to the house." I then say, "Well, if that happens, I'll just come back inside." But he still looks worried, like he doesn't want me to go, but he has no proper excuse. So he just lets me go. I'm chilling outside for a bit, and my cousin comes out after a while and he brings his guns with him. Man, what the hell do you need that for? I was born and raised in suburbs all my life. I never touched a gun before, let alone seen one. He then says, you know, just in case. We sit outside for a while. The sun is gone, and it starts to get dark. My cousin insists that we go inside. I finally give in, and he locks the door behind us. I notice that there's a huge deadbolt on the door, a really big one. There's also 3 smaller locks on the doors as well. I'm thinking that they just like to live secure. And he also mentioned bears. We head upstairs and chill with everybody else. They're watching a movie and smoking some weed. I take a seat next to Mary because she's the hot one, and I've been spitting my game with her all day. After talking for a bit, we head to the room downstairs. We start making out. She's just about to take her top off and then stops. There's something wrong. She doesn't say anything. She just stares behind me like she's looking for something. Then she screams, but it's the loudest scream that I ever heard. And then she runs out of the room. I look behind me and there's nothing there. I'm like, damn, am I that ugly? I grab her shirt and follow her out. She's sitting in the middle of the living room. I give her the shirt and stuff. She puts it back on as everyone else runs downstairs. I ask what's wrong, and everyone else is a little bit annoyed. They're like, what the hell was that screaming? People start saying that I was trying to do things to her. And I'm like, no, shut the fuck up. She finally speaks up, and I'm thinking, thanks. Now tell them that I didn't do anything to you before they start thinking wrong. What she says clears my name, but it basically ruins our vacate. She says that at some point she looked out the window and she thought she saw something because the light was on and she couldn't really see out the window all that well. And I think, all right, well, that makes sense. She then says that all of a sudden, someone's face gets real close to the window, except their face was all wrong, distorted almost. Now I'm thinking, what the fuck? She said that their eyes were all sunken in and their nose seemed broken off to the side. Everyone is now quiet, listening to her, and says that the mouth was just hanging open, like they had a dislocated jaw or something, thinking that there are some creepy people in the woods watching us. The other girl says, "Ew, he sounded ugly." Someone else thinks that she's kidding. My friend Aiden chimes in. "It was most likely just your reflection." Of course, he's telling me that. Everyone kind of chuckles, including myself. And then Mary says, "I'm being dead fucking serious right now. I know what I saw. All this time, my cousin is just quiet. He hasn't said a word yet." I then ask him what he thinks, and everyone shuts up to listen to him. He says, "I think we shouldn't worry about it right now." He says that he was wrong, and he knew it. Mary gets mad at people for not taking her serious, but she eventually calms down. We all settle down and sleep upstairs in the big room with the TV. The rest of the night is uneventful. We wake up the next day. We're still a little weirded out from last night's events, but fuck it, whatever. It very well could have been just some weirdo out in the woods. It won't happen again. We start out the day just fine. We eat breakfast and go for a morning hike with everyone except Mary, who actually left that morning in her own vehicle. We smoke a little bit and head back, this whole time feeling awfully paranoid that somebody's watching us. We start swimming. We're sitting on the water trampoline. On one of those moments, I'm looking out into the forest. That's when I see someone standing there. They're pretty far away though, so I can't really see who's there. I then start waving. This person waves back. However, the waves seem real sluggish, like slow motion. There was such a gap of time in between when I waved and it waved back. There's only 5 of us in total at the lake. Myself, Aiden, Luke, Mark, and Chris. Everyone else went to go smoke. I assume it was one of them and they were just really high. I look back at where the person was, and they are now gone. I guess maybe they moved on. I don't know. Everyone who was gone suddenly shows up. I then say, "How'd you guys get around the lake so quickly?" They're confused. They say they were in the house eating. I say, "No, you weren't. I was waving at you." Someone says, "Dude, what are you talking about? We all been inside." At this point, I'm like, fuck, what the hell? I look over at my cousin Luke, and he looks a little bit worried. He looks out into the forest. Now I'm kind of weirded out. At this point, I figure out that there's something up that he's not telling us. I get off the water trampoline, and I ask my cousin what the hell is going on. He says, "Not right now. I'll tell you later." So it's about 6 or 7 p.m. now. Chris, Henry, and Jesse go to the shed to get a shovel. They want to dig a hole so we can have a fire pit. They're gone for a long time. Then suddenly, we hear a screech from the forest. Then, more screeches. Luke tells us all to get the hell inside right now. And there's no argument or debate. We all go inside. As he closed the door, I said, "What the fuck is going on?" At first, he says nothing. And then he says, "They're not supposed to come out during the day. They're breaking the rules." I think, man, what the hell are you talking about? What are you saying? That's when we hear a loud banging at the door. We all jump. It's Chris screaming at the top of his lungs, "Open the fucking door. You guys open the door." Luke then opens the door, and Chris barges in. Henry and Jesse are nowhere to be found. Luke then asks, "Where's Henry and Jesse?" Chris then says, "We got separated. These things then started chasing me." Luke then goes around the house and locks all the doors and windows, and even closes the shutters. We then go upstairs and look out the window down the hill, and that's when we see a dozen of figures walking around near the edge of the woods. They weren't even really walking. They were just kind of, I don't know, jittering around like they were having seizures while walking. What the fuck? Aiden says. "What?" I ask, but I don't need him to answer. Henry and Jesse are on the path on their way from the cabin, as if nothing's wrong. They're just walking really slowly. They walk up to the door, try to get in, and start knocking. "Should we let them in?" I say. They're still knocking nonstop. Luke is silent for a moment, like he's seen this before, and doesn't want to tell us anything. He then says, "It isn't them." What do you mean it's not them? They're still knocking, more than just one hand. It sounds like a bunch of people knocking together. He then says, "They're gonna be okay, but that's not them. It looks like them, but it's not. As a matter of fact, we need to leave." We wait until morning, but no one sleeps anything. There's knocking all throughout the night, endless screeching from everywhere. Eventually, the screeching dies down. The knocking fades too. By the morning, Henry and Jesse are still there. I look outside from the window above the front door. They're both staring straight at the door. Suddenly, they both look up at me, and their eyes, they look gone, deep, empty sockets. Their jaws are slack, and now they're staring into my soul. They didn't have eyes, but I can feel them looking at me, even after I leave the window. Around 9 o'clock, Luke decides that it's time for us to go, and he gives us all golf clubs that belong to his dad. He then says, "We're all gonna run to the cars. Don't look, just go." He tells me to drive the Range Rover, and Chris is gonna drive the sedan. After designating where everyone's gonna sit, we all pile up at the back door. Luke then opens it slightly, looks around, and then starts booking into the car. We all follow. We get in the cars. We see Henry and Jesse running after us, but they aren't running. It's almost like they're sliding across the grass while standing up, almost like puppets on strings. We get in the car. Jasper won't get in the car because he doesn't want to leave them behind. Luke then punches him in the face. He says that they're going to be okay, and he throws them into the passenger seat. We then drive off. Henry and Jesse are chasing us, loud screaming from everywhere. So loud, to the point where they're drowning out the sound of the engine. I then see figures on the side of the road. I would sometimes see faces, and they're exactly how Mary had described them. I wish I could forget them. They looked deformed and improper and not right. They all had flat jaws. One side of the jaw was hanging lower than the other. The shoulders were all lopsided. Their stance was not right, and their legs seemed broken and backwards like a grasshopper's legs. We kept seeing them until we left the forested area. I then drove 90 all the way home. A few days after I got home, I called my cousin and I asked him what the hell happened. He then just kept telling me to forget it. I asked whatever happened to Jesse and Henry. He said he found them barely conscious, covered in bruises and severely dehydrated. They both did end up being okay. When I asked him once again what the hell those things were and what they did to Henry and Jesse, he just said, "They are breaking the rules," and just tells me to forget that this ever happened because it's easier than explaining it, and you'll just be better off that way. I did one of those at home DNA testing kits. You know, the ones that they can tell your ancestral makeup, help you connect with long lost family members or relatives, that sort of thing. The test that I used had this option to make your DNA available to law enforcement. That way, if there was a partial DNA match to a crime scene or victim, my DNA may help law enforcement identify the criminal. Maybe I shouldn't have opted in. The thing is, I've been hearing a lot about these in the news. If you're a true crime fan, you know that these kids can sometimes lead police to catch decades old serial killers and rapists that have been avoiding capture. My thinking was that if one of my family members is actually a monster, well, I would want them behind bars, regardless of who it is. I opted in, but never really considered the possibility that there would be a match. And then there was. I was contacted by my local police department and notified that my DNA had been a partial match to a Jane Doe, and that they would like my help in identifying her. That was honestly not what I was expecting. I was a match for a dead woman. The police explained to me that our DNA profiles indicated we may have been related. and that they wanted to know if I knew of any relatives who had gone missing or hadn't been heard from in the past 5 years. They determined her time of death was about 5 years ago based on the state of her body when it was found. They have reason to believe it's a homicide, even though they weren't able to tell me the cause of death. Apparently, due to the state of her remains, it was impossible to tell. Well, I didn't know of any family members who had gone missing, but I don't know my extended family all that well. I decided to get my mom involved, who actually does genealogy. She worked with the police, going through our family tree, but she couldn't find anyone. So maybe it was someone we didn't know that we were related to somehow, possibly. At this point, we decided to talk to the rest of my immediate family and even extended to see if anyone else knew anything. Most of our family members thought it was pretty cool and actually wanted to see the mystery solved, even though a few of them were angry at me for giving my DNA to law enforcement in the first place. The police showed us a sketch of what they think the woman would have looked like, and my mom and I agree she has some resemblance to my Aunt Linda, especially in the eyebrows and high cheekbones. The police decided to ask Aunt Linda and her two children to submit DNA samples, and they agreed. It took about 2 weeks to hear back from the police after their samples had been submitted. They most likely weren't at the top of the list for the crime lab, but when they did get the results back, they ended up asking Aunt Linda and Bex to come down to the station. The police decided to ask Aunt Linda and her two children, one of them whose name is Bex, to submit DNA samples. They agreed. They asked Bex and Aunt Linda specifically to come down to the station. Bex actually asked me to come with her. She and I were really close growing up, basically best friends. We lost touch over the years and time, but I still consider her a close friend. I agreed to go in with her, even though I wasn't really sure why she wanted me there. When the police told us what they found, to say I was shocked is an understatement. The DNA match from Jane Doe was an exact match to Beck's. My initial thought was that there must have been some sort of mistake. I asked what the likelihood is that the DNA matched Beck's without actually coming from her. 1 in 5.4 billion, they said. They told us that this was extremely perplexing and that they had no explanation for the match. I asked Aunt Linda if Bex had an identical twin that nobody knew about. Maybe, but she shook her head. The police told us that identical twins don't actually have perfectly identical DNA anyway, so that couldn't explain the whole matching. I was concerned. I'm sure you can imagine why. When the police presented them with their evidence and shrugged it off, they laughed. Actually laughed. Isn't that just the weirdest thing? Said Aunt Linda. They were both smiling and laughing the rest of the time, which clearly made the police uncomfortable. They told the police that they hoped Jane Doe could be identified one day, but that they were pretty sure they couldn't help any further. And then they left the police station. I followed after them in a daze, confused by what the police had told us, and by Bex and Aunt Linda's behavior. On the way home, I asked Bex if it truly didn't bother her. She said, "There's obviously been some mistake. It's just not possible for my DNA to match exactly with a dead woman. The police screwed something up, and they'll probably figure it out in a few days and call us and apologize. Don't worry too much about it." I did try to take her advice. My mom even agreed with her, saying that it must have been some sort of mistake and that it would get cleared up sooner or later. 3 days after we spoke to police, Bex and her two children disappeared. My mom had gone over to their place to borrow some family photo albums from Aunt Linda, just to discover that the front door was unlocked and open. Nobody was inside. We tried reaching them on their cell phones, but were informed that their numbers had been all disconnected. Nothing was missing from the house. They didn't take any personal belongings. Their cars were still there. It was like they just disappeared and they didn't come back. We did report them missing, of course, and a few days after that, the police asked my mom and me to come down to the station. That's when they revealed that they had ran Aunt Linda's and her two kids' DNA through their databases and came up with two more exact matches to Jane and John Doe, whose bodies were found within 50 miles of each other, and the original Jane Doe. All of them died about 5 years ago. Once is a mistake, or maybe a weird coincidence, but three times. The police were baffled. They did ask us for all the information we could give them on my aunt's family. They specifically wanted to know what they were doing 5 years ago. All we could tell them is that they had gone on a family vacation that year and had been gone a week longer than they had planned. Other than that, we had nothing else. It's been a few months since then. The police have no answers for us, and we have no answers for them. I keep waiting for Bex to call or show up, or any of them really, but it's like they vanish off the face of the earth. The worst part is that there's nothing I can do. I've done so much research to try to find something that can explain what's going on, but I can't come up with a theory that makes sense. Nothing grounded in truth, anyway. All I wanted to know is if I'm part Irish, and instead I ended up discovering that my family isn't at all what it seems to be. We all have that one friend who can really into the holidays. You know, the one that won't decorate, won't dress up, won't wish you a happy whatever day it is. And even though he's agreed to come to your theme party, he'll stay in the back the whole time. In most cases, the hate is directed at just one holiday, whether it be
I can't. He's so monotone. I try, but I can't. Let's see. Um, let's see. Yeah, he's too monotone for me. I try to listen. Sometimes I can listen to a story or two, but it's just too much for me. He is monotone. Oh man. I'm sure people say that about me too, so I ain't tripping. Um, that's what I was thinking. Let me look up some Bruja stories. Man, the good Mexican stories are in Spanish. We'll do the first one that popped up.
Hey guys, welcome to my.
Let me see. Brujas.
Start with story number one. Hi, Daisy. This is a story about an encounter with a bruja. I was not born yet, but my grandma told me in great detail about what happened that night, and things still do not add up to this day. My grandparents live in Mexico in a rancho basically in the middle of nowhere. The layout of the rancho was a little weird. It was shaped like a huge square and it had rooms all around the square, but when you would come out of the rooms, there was no ceiling, so it was open. They had super high walls surrounding us, so nobody could climb in, and the main entrance door had plenty of locks on it. keep this in mind. So, my grandma told me that one night my mom and my youngest uncle and two of my aunties, including my grandma, slept in the same room. So, imagine two rooms together with the wall in between and an opening for a door, but with no actual door. Well, my mom and my uncle slept in the same bed, with my brother in between them. My uncle had a side of the bed where it was touching the wall. I would like to note that the bed had a high frame at the foot of it. Keep all of this in mind. My brother was wrapped into a tight little burrito so he wouldn't wiggle his way out of the blankets. He was about 4 to 5 months old. My grandma and my aunties were sleeping in the room next to them. A few hours after everyone fell asleep, my grandma said that she heard something fall, and she immediately thought of my brother. Although there was no one crying, she still went to go look for him. She looked at the sides of the bed, and he wasn't anywhere to be seen, at least in plain sight. My grandma tried to wake up my mom, but she wasn't waking up. So my grandma just kept looking around to look for my brother, and she somehow decided to look under the bed. And there he was, laying on his tummy, sound asleep, and she gently pulled him out of there. She was confused on why he was asleep and why he wasn't crying. Keep in mind, the floors are pure concrete. She woke up one of my aunties and told her what happened, and they both tried to wake up my mom again, but she still wouldn't wake up. In the morning, they checked my brother for bruising from the fall and didn't find anything. My three uncles, who slept in a separate room, said they woke up to loud noises and female voices, but they said the noises were coming from above their room. They were too scared to go find out what was there. Another chilling part of the story is that my mom told my grandma that she was aware about what happened that night. She could hear my grandma and my aunt calling her to wake her up, but she said the voices sounded far away and muffled. It's like her mind was conscious, but her body wasn't. My mom is not a strong believer in the paranormal, and she doesn't like talking about this topic. My grandma said that at that time there was a lot of children going missing, and that witchcraft practices were being performed everywhere. Nobody can figure out how my brother ended up under the bed. Everyone was asleep. My brother was too little to wiggle himself out and had no ability to climb over my mom to end up on the floor, and without crying. Someone had to physically take him out of the blankets and carry him off the bed. I have heard that witches have the ability to make people fall into trances where they can't feel their surroundings. I'm wondering if that's what happened here. This story brings me chills every time I think about it. Love you, Daisy. Stay safe. Love you too. Thank you so much for writing in your story. This is crazy. Your poor mom hearing everything and not being able to wake up. Good thing your brother was found safe, just sleeping. I could just imagine a little baby sleeping under a bed. Oh my God, so innocently. I wonder what your brother feels, that he was handled by a possible witch, and thankfully nothing bad happened to him or anyone, because even your uncles were hearing some stuff in the other room. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, to be honest. That just seemed like very, like, you just feel helpless in a situation like this. Thank you so much for writing in. I loved your story. Thank you so much. Now moving on to the next story. Hey Daisy, what's up? Me llamo Isaí. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Sorry if I butchered it. And I wanted to share two experiences my tia had with her family in Mexico a couple years ago when me and my cousins were little. So about 2 or 3 years after my cousin Raulito was born, my tios decided to go to Mexico for a family trip to visit our hundreds, if not thousands of cousins over there in El Fraile or Pacula Hidalgo. So on their visit, there were two instances where my two older cousins, Emily and Daisy, and my tia Lupe were outside of their home and were staring into La Sierra, or just like some mini mountains of trees in a forest area. Well, they couldn't sleep and decided to go outside to get some fresh air. My oldest cousin, Daisy, said that she started to see some what appeared to be some fireball or like a sphere of energy moving around randomly in the distance. This sphere split and became four spheres, just jumping around and then disappeared. My cousin ran inside with my other cousin and tia and quickly prayed and slept. In the morning, they talked to my abuela about what had happened, and she did not seem surprised. My grandma told them that it was a little on the common side to see these phenomena occur, as she explained that these spheres of energy could be the spirits of brujas. So one night, all of my tia's family was sound asleep when all of a sudden there was a thud on the roof. And then it sounded like a bird was flapping its wings against the roof of the house. It was an owl. Now, in the area where they lived, it is known that owls usually have to do with witches. The owl kept flapping its wings and then stopped. Then a tap was heard outside of the window where my little cousin was sleeping in his crib. My tia had already woken up by the flapping and went to check on my little cousin, and what she saw next terrified her. She saw what appeared to be an outline of a short woman outside the window, and my tia immediately got down on her knees and prayed. After praying, she did not see her anymore. In the morning, my tia went to my abuela and explained what had happened and was terrified. She told her it was a crime that she prayed because these women are witches out to hunt little children. To explain without going into gruesome details, these witches were known to steal little toddlers or babies and take them to sacrifice them and literally drink their blood and kill them. It's so messed up, but I'm glad my little cousin and everyone is safe. Now, the next experience is where one of my aunt's uncles had a terrible experience. This deal was at one night walking down a dirt road by himself at 2 a.m. He was very drunk at the time and a few miles into his walk to get to his house. This owl starts flying around him. He got very annoyed quickly. He went as far as to try to punch this owl. Well, worst mistake he could have done because this owl flew in front of him, and I kid you not, this owl manifested itself into an old woman. The tío did not even think twice about it and ran a whole marathon to his house. He to this day has not drank any more beer. Literally, se le quitó lo borracho. Imagine something shapeshift before your eyes. Like you think it's a bird, you think it's a dog, you think it's a pig, you think it's a goat, but then it's like something crazy. But yeah, people claim that lechuzas or brujas can shapeshift into lechuzas. And there is also a different belief that lechuzas are just messengers. More not messengers, but like, ¿cómo se dice? Like they are the ones que like their little spy for the bruja. Let me know on your guys' understanding of lechuzas when it comes to witches and brujas, because that's what I've heard. And honestly, this owl is like cute and scary at the same time. Am I the only one that thinks that? Like it's sometimes cute and then it's sometimes hella scary. I'll show you guys right here. You guys are probably saying right now. But your story is crazy. Like the heck you guys have experienced. Maybe it's in this pueblo, like there is more encounters with brujas in the area. There's more, it's a more of a common practice there, but that is scary. Oh my god, your poor tío. Well, thank you so much. This was crazy. These stories are hilarious at the same time. The last one, at the end. But thank you so much. So now moving on to the next story. Hi, beautiful. My name's Vanessa, and for starters, let me just say how much I love and how obsessed I am with your channel/stories. Thank you so much, girl. Thank you. Although I have trouble sleeping, I still watch LOL. With that being said, let me share with you and your subscribers about mine and my sister's experience. Thank you so much. You're true. Like, you guys mean a lot to me. Oh, I love you. This was back in 2007. We were sleeping over my friend Perla's house. She lived upstairs above us. On that night, her and her family had gone to church. Don't know what church, but they were told that that particular night they'd hear or see something weird/rare, something indescribable. That evening, we were watching movies up till nighttime. It was around 9:10 p.m., and we were setting up our side of the living room to sleep. My sister was adjusting the blanket on one of the couches near the window. My friend and I were talking when my sister suddenly said, There's a tree flying. Obviously, we laughed because we knew that was impossible. When she said it again and pointed out the window, I walked over to see what she was talking about. There was a floating object hiding behind the tree. After I approached, my friend and her younger sister, Mitzi, walked over. My friend Perla turned off the light and we noticed the floating object getting closer. My friend turned the lights on and we noticed how quickly it hid behind the tree again. We played with the lights multiple times to see if it would show itself again and if it would hide again. Once we saw that this particular thing was playing with us, we decided to tell my friend's mom. As we called her over, the neighbor's dogs started barking aggressively. They were looking up and almost wanted to lunge their way up as they barked, looking at this thing. I remember calling my mom and asking her if she could step outside and if she could tell me if she saw anything up in the sky. She said no. Of course, my mom asked questions and asked if we were okay, but when you're shocked and startled, you do not want to explain anything. You just want to make yourself believe it isn't anything. As soon as I hung up, my friend's mom told us, Esto es lo que nos dijeron hoy. A nosotros nos tocó ver algo raro. To this day, I do not know who exactly it was that she called, but we were told to pray. My friend's mom at the time was pregnant. She placed her hand on the wall to hold her balance, and as we were about to pray, it was as if something or someone shoved her. We were all looking at one another, scared as hell. I remember my sister crying on the side. My friend's mom told us to move into her room, and once we did, we hid by the bed, and that's when we heard an evil laugh. We all turned our heads and looked towards the window, and that's when we all saw the shadow of a floating witch, a bruja. The room had red curtains, and the silhouette of hers was perfectly formed. Her laugh was fucking loud. I felt chills around my entire body. None of us moved. We all just stared at each other. My friend's mom whispered to us to not move and to try our best to ignore her. The night seemed and felt so long. We couldn't sleep, and none of us did sleep that night. Once the sun came up, my sister and I decided to go back home. None of us spoke about what happened. Till this day, we still trip out on that experience. And when we let people know what we experienced, no one believes us. I'm so sorry if this was so much to read, but I thought I'd share this unexplainable experience. What? No, first of all, no need to apologize. That was crazy. That was weird. Okay. I have questions, but like, what was that church? And what the hell? Why did they say like you ever gonna experience something like uh those were some bold statements that the church did, and the fact that it happened, and the fact that you guys were caught in the middle of it. I'm assuming you guys were young, like younger, probably in your teens, maybe. But even though, like, that's some traumatizing stuff. But I hope all is well with you guys. And if you have any more stories, send them my way. This was definitely interesting. It got me thinking now about this possible church. But thank you so much for writing it. So now moving on to our last story. Hey Daisy, I've recently started watching your videos and I'm so obsessed. I am so glad. Thank you so much for watching. Listening to all of the stories, predominantly from other Mexicans/Latinos, is always entertaining because it's something that we all grew up on. One of my favorite things about getting together con la familia is when the tone of conversation shifts and everyone recounts one of their paranormal stories. Honestly, same me. I love that. Well, you already know. Well, anyway, enough of that. I wanted to tell you a few stories of my mom's chilling paranormal experiences. My mother has always had paranormal occurrences happen to her, and she has always been sure that someone who practices brujeria has cursed her. For nearly 20 years, my mom has worked a job that requires her to get up at 3 a.m. La hora de las brujas, as you already know. Not only does she have to wake up early for work, but she has to commute to work for a somewhat long drive in the middle of the night. There was a long period where my mom would have scary stuff happen to her as she was going to work. One of the most chilling things that have happened to her took place over the span of a few days. She says for a few nights in a row, she would reach a certain point in her commute to work in the dead of the night where there was no cars around. And she says that she would see a very large dark bird rise from the road up to the driver's side window and would follow her for a few minutes. This could possibly be explained with logic and reason, but the strange thing is that the road she drove through has a speed limit of 70 miles per hour. How is it possible for a bird to go that fast? My mom said that it happened a few times and she remembers that it would just glide right next to her as she drove. On the final night of this occurrence, she said that the very large bird would get in the way of her truck and that she felt her truck slam into the bird. Later on, when she was away from the location, she checked the front portion of the truck and said there were no scuff marks or anything. This is one of my favorites when it comes to her supernatural stories, even though I feel bad for being entertained by her terror. LOL. What do you think? I'm 100% believer in paranormal stuff, and there's legends of La Lechuza in Mexico. And what my mom had seen those few nights may have just been one. Sorry for the long story, but it's definitely up there when it comes to scary stories I've heard. Hope you enjoyed. Anonymous. So, guys, I'm literally checking right now the different speeds of birds, and they're
Yee. Oh, I'm getting lazy. How long have I been on? 2 hours. Ah, what did I do? What's for dinner? We all had takeout. I think I'm gonna go scroll for a little bit. My butt's hurting. I guess I'll just eat string cheese. That's what I ate last night. I ate cheese. I literally just ate a big old thing of cheese. Cheese and crackers. That one, too light. That one, light. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four, five. Ooh, do you have COVID, Lorraine? Dang, I hate. There's a fruit fly in here. So, are you just staying home tomorrow, or where are you gonna spend your turkey day? Oh, you do? Dang, I'm sorry. That's crazy how it's still around. Are you vaccinated? It seemed like the vaccinations didn't even help. I don't know where I got it. I went to 3 events since Friday. Dang. She's chilling in the crate, according to her story. Lou Larie's chilling in a crate? Oh man, I'm sorry. Yep, fully vaccinated, and it hurts like a beast. My body aches progressed in a day. My nose was like a faucet. Man. Why is this so new? Would you say it's worse than the first time? What's this? This. 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 1, 2, 3, 4. Today is more coughing and fevers. I've run across a lot of people who are even masked and coughing. Dang. Why is this not lining up? I need like a couple more beads right there. I think I need a break. I need a break. She posted a story on IG. I'm gonna go take a break, you guys. Study because I knew something wasn't right. Good thing I tested before leaving back to res. Yeah. Well, let me know if you need anything, Marie. I am home without my kids. I would say let's go do something, but now I can't say that. But let me know if you want me to drop off something. I am going to log off for a little bit and probably go lay down for a little bit. We'll see you guys tomorrow, guys. Maybe, I don't know. Shoot. I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. But you guys have a good turkey day with your family. Eat lots. Hey, I think I'm gonna go try to find. Oh, it's already 9. I saw that Trader Joe's has gluten-free stuffing. They're probably closed. That's what I want to go do. They're probably closed. What time is Trader Joe's? Ah, they're closed. They open at 8. Are they even open tomorrow? I think all these closes too. That's one thing we haven't had in the last few years is stuffing, and I don't wanna. Make homemade stuffing. That's just way too much. The bread, the gluten-free bread sucks ass. So, all right, guys, enjoy your time with your family tomorrow. Eat. If you guys have plenty, share some with someone that is not able to have a plate. That's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm probably gonna go around and give a few plates out to whoever's around. All right. That's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.